Really wish that didn't tell me that every time.
Me too. It's annoying sometimes.
Probably hearing it as many times a day as I do. Well, if you're gonna, they added it with the one update. If you're gonna add it, at least give me the capability of making it
Muting
go
it.
away. Trust me, I know. I pushed the button. It says recording in the top left corner. Guess what, everyone? I know. But guess means we can crack the monster and get going here. Shout out, quick one again, Ivana Trump, for her death and all that. Got to say that. You wanted to. I already forgot.
Cheers.
I already forgot about it. There's been so much stupid that I legit forgot about it, that she passed away. So, it's good to see the whole family there because, again, even through divorce, I mean, she was still actually highly involved in everything. Like, a lot of politicians and people that,
Yep.
just cut themselves.
It's also a
everyone
sign
out.
of respect too. I mean, like we were talking
Respect and
about.
being a human being, an actual human being, like
Well,
being
not
an
just that.
adult.
I mean, look how involved she was, like you
Yeah,
said,
that's
and
being
then
very,
look where she was placed to rest.
yeah, it's very adult-like. Just saying, like, much as everyone, says the adults are in charge now, I don't see any adults doing that. Last time I saw anything that adults had to do with dead bodies, there was this guy. He was standing on the runway, and he kept, every time a body came off the back of that, cargo plane for transport, he stopped and looked at his watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the last time I saw anything with dead bodies because I figured I needed to stop because that made me want to put my head through something. And anyone that knows anything about my head, it will go through it at some point or another. I will hit it enough times that I might lose the war, but damn it, I will win the battle. The hell was that? Let me leave you alone for 9 seconds. You got stuff falling over. But yeah, so it was good to see the whole family there and everyone together, regardless of all the stupid, everything going on otherwise around and between everyone looking into it. DOJ has plenty of time for. It's amazing that the DOJ has
No time for Hunter.
plenty of time for Trump still on everything from his business things from years before he's president to everything. And they've FBI and all of them have literally been holding on to Hunter's laptop for 3 years and are yet to do
Now you got Democrats calling for a
anything.
independent.
They haven't done anything with it in 3 years of the DOJ the whole time. I'm not going to stop them. Well, guess what, bro? Been
I'm saying when you got congressmen and senators that are Democrats coming out and saying, "Hey, boom, this is what we need," and it's against everything the administration's DOJ is pushing, you're probably going down the wrong road. I'm just going to point that out. If your own party, which is full of
psychopaths, sociopaths, narcissists,
spoiled libtards, we'll just go there.
Hey, they are the most privileged people in the country. No matter what they say, white, this, that, or the other way. Liberals are the most privileged people in this country. They can do whatever the hell they want. They can say whatever the hell they want. They can get as many DUIs and bad things. Like Bruce Springsteen, last year, crazy DUI, blew way heavy, and he had to pay like $100 fine and see you later. Bye. I did that. My ass would have spent tens of thousands of dollars, and I would have been in jail. I wouldn't have been like, okay, well, here's your $100 fine. See you later. Well, why? Because there,
Paul Pelosi, that guy was drunk.
Yeah, 3 times the limit, I believe. Or how about all the people that broke down, the doors to, that same Capitol, the office buildings and all that during Kavanaugh's, confirmation thing. And Nancy's like, yay. And then again, look how they treat everyone else that's on the right when they do anything. They broke down the doors and stormed the thing at the Capitol. That was okay, though. Want to know why? Because it was their people. You can do whatever the hell you want as long as January 6th, those people are still in jail waiting on a trial 2 years later, over 2 years, almost 2 years, year and a half. And they're not prosecuting what?
They won't get one.
And look at the tens of thousands of people during all the riots over that aren't going to get prosecuted, haven't been prosecuted or even looked for anything.
The same thing is going to happen to everybody that was involved with January 6th that's arrested and incarceration right now. The exact same thing that's going to happen to them is the exact same thing that Rush is doing to Paul Whelan. You're going to hold him for 15 years with zero justification,
And
zero justice, zero legitimate fucking anything for education.
And yeah, I'm just gonna throw it out there, everyone. Before we move on to actual important things, we're getting all the stupid out now. It's fascinating to me that people are still throwing a hissy fit, and yeah, it's all the liberals actually passing bills to get Brittany Griner, out of jail when she admitted to being an idiot. But yet they're not doing anything for any of our actual political prisoners that didn't do a
There's
goddamn
numerous
thing,
Marines
except
still there.
Yeah, except just be there. And we're not passing any bills to get them out of anything when they're actually being mistreated. Because they were there because your ass sent them there. Doing a job that you pussies would never do, and we're not passing bills to get rid of them in resolutions. We're more worried about the spoiled rotten lady that literally has cussed out the country a million times. It's amazing how she's asking for our help now. Then why would you even come back? I'd keep her. What? I don't want her. I mean, like they trade people for her. I don't know if I'm going to have a skull left anymore. Not saying I'm going to blow it off or suicide. I'm saying my head might actually physically explode this time. Like if you've never seen the movie Ready or Not, it'll kind of be like that. Just gone. Doesn't surprise me anything they do, but real stuff, border numbers. I love how late this stuff comes out anymore. It really actually is. It just seems to be getting worse and worse, which is terrifying. But drug seizures, there's a lot of them. The economy numbers, like there's all kinds of bad things that have come out. Again, I just don't understand. Like the numbers are there at the end of the month. Like there's a big computer keeping track of it all, especially the economy. Why do you have to wait until the morning of the 27th to release some of it? And I think the new, what number is it? Inflation number or something's coming out tomorrow morning.
Yeah, so it'll be.
I believe that's what it said. Tomorrow morning.
The inflation numbers.
No, sorry, you have the GDP number. There you go. We're going to find out the official Q2, like the official numbers tomorrow. Guess what, guys? Q2's been over for a long time.
Yeah, because you'll be able to take with that one, you'll be able to take that one, this one, which is the one we were talking about last week, the consumer pricing shit, and then you can take that and add it with that.
Yeah,
and you know how bad your country's failing.
All you have to do is be able to read. But again, GDP numbers, I don't like how we're waiting on Q2 because last time I checked, it goes by fiscal year, which means Q2 ended. Q2 ended
end of March.
Long time.
We should have had the numbers April 15th, but we didn't.
And they have to hold off for like 3.5 months for something. Like, guess what? The numbers are tabulated. They have computers that do it for them. It's not smart people putting all this stuff together. It is computers telling them for them.
It's just been done for decades.
And yeah, we still don't know until tomorrow. But hey, what are we to do? But I guess all we have to have is be brains. We'll be the brains of the world, as no one else wants to use theirs.
Yep.
Just saying. I mean, it's not that hard to understand. I don't physically actually get how people could just be dumb like that. But hell, I had a conversation with my grandmother. She doesn't like talk politics, but she has, talking about me getting out of here, selling the house. What? And they're like, yeah, but the market right now. I was like, yep. Like, yeah. So, and the price of everything right now, and I have to replace a whole deck and all the flick that, yeah. I'd be screwed. I'd be screwed for a very long time. So I'll probably be here for years just because, well, this is not going to reverse itself rapidly.
It'll take
us decades.
We're going to speak hypothetically here. 2025, January 21. Should a Republican come into office? From there on out, it would take 6 continuous years of Republican America First type mentality to recover just from what happened in 2020.
Yeah. It'll take well over like a decade, if we're being honest here, to actually be able to do anything. Like it's just
we literally just set ourselves back to the 90s pretty much.
Yeah. And the numbers, my friends, don't lie, but we'll get to that because there's lots of stuff coming from the economy and my favorite person in the world right now, Janet Yellen. I just, hey,
You can tell she still believes in God. I'm gonna
hey,
put that.
you could, hey, you could, yeah, but the wordsmithing that they have her doing or that she's doing, like she's just playing the left's game to a T. But just control the narrative, what control the
Unless they're
wording
angels
being,
in the Bible.
yeah, they're controlling the wording of how they describe things. No, to make it sound like it's not that bad, even though what they're describing is exactly what we're calling it. They're just saying it nicer, so it doesn't sound as catastrophic. And then all their people drink it in like Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
True story. But we'll get to this guy first. Yeah, because he says there's not a problem. That's Mayorkas for anyone that can't see his glowing dome behind me. He's about as worthless as a football bat. But yeah, the
Yeah.
numbers came out, and again, I still don't
My little
understand.
gnome right here has a better
I don't,
purpose in life than
I don't understand how the numbers have to come out in the middle of the month. It's like you guys record your encounters every day.
I wish we get a president that would make this right here stop and say, look, your numbers end on the 31st of every month or 30th or 29th, whatever amount of days there is in the month. But with that being said, you move from there. It takes no more than a week for you to compile the results from the computer system, ensure that nothing has been
It's fudged.
improperly screwed up when it comes to computer compiling, and then release it in a proper press form. It does not take more than a week.
Especially as
I'm fair. Give them to
literally, it's literally just people. And I know I've made those databases. You could do them all on Excel and type in the right thing, and it will do all the math for you. And you can check it as, and guess what? You can go through however many days the worst for these people and pull out a calculator next to it and do it all yourself for those days. You'll get the number. Yeah, 31, all those plus, add up to 29, 30, 31 days, whatever it is in that column, boom, you'll have the total right there. You can literally do it in that number in 6 minutes. Because you'll be staring at the number going, yeah, but I mean the numbers that I got was 207, 214. And we guess what, everyone? When you said that we were all crazy, remember last year was 1.7 some million people encounters? With that 207, I'm pretty sure we just cracked we already broke last year's fiscal year numbers. Let's just leave it at that. And there's still 3 months left. So guess what? We're gonna hit 2.5 million to 3. So he's gonna almost manage to find a way to almost double last year's numbers. But no, we don't have a problem. There's
everything just flash.
No. Dorian happens to me all the time. I'm waiting for her to look up, and it's like, okay, that was just me. Cool. Makes you feel even better about your brain, doesn't it? Yeah, 207,214, 26. I had at least one previous encounter in the last 12 months. Shocker, because you send them back and they keep coming back. Because sooner or later, they know they're just not going to get caught. Because you hear what all of them say. That's how many we caught. The number's normally about 3 times higher than that for getaways. Those are just the ones. Here's the numbers of the ones that we know got away. Like they have the numbers here, so we encountered. Here's the ones that we know that we didn't get, and then triple that, and you'll find the actual number. And it's terrifying. But 68% were single adults. Shocker. 44% or 92,000 processed for expulsion under Title 42. Process for expulsion. How many people that processed the first expulsion? What? How many of them were actually expelled? I know how long it takes government to process anything. Hell, Hannah's still waiting on her taxes. Keeps getting letters from IRS going, well, we're still looking. Hold up. They only had that since April or something, but got lots of single adults.
And the people question why I don't like them.
Yeah, but unaccompanied minors is up 4% for May. And the average number of CVP custody was 752 a day compared to the 692 in May. And really, that's the big number that I pay attention to, because once the kid's here, they're going to try to get the family, and then the family comes.
Oh, yeah.
because that's how they always got in under Obama. Send the kid. We're not just gonna be able to expel them and send them away all on their own. Believe it or not, they don't do that. No matter what AOC tells you. Oh wait, she no longer cares about the border people in cages because now it's her putting them in the cages and it's okay.
Right.
It's kinky like that. And she's dumb, but yeah, that's another story. But yeah, numbers suck. You can carry on with the rest of it. What you have.
On the border stuff, I want to bring this up. We're there. The numbers of the shit is increasing monthly. There's no denying it. And I feel confident in saying the number of problematic situations at the border every month probably has not stopped going up and an increase month by month since the beginning of 2020.
Yeah, I'd say the numbers are a little lower than lower than they were at their height last year, which I think was what, August, where it was just you looking at it going, but granted, look how high those numbers were. And no matter what, we've already beat last year's numbers. So you could, look, it's lower though. Yeah, we're already hundreds of thousands over last year's total number. And we aren't even to August yet.
Yeah. So you got that going on. And I think when we talked about this a while back, it was like, I think we were spending close to 400 million a day on just illegal immigration. I hate to break it to people, but that's a lot. So if you got 340 million.
Ooh, can I do this? Ooh, watch out. Technology. Oh, I can find the button with my finger. Only bad thing about this case, I can't find the button with my finger. Uh-oh, guys.
I broke the calculator.
What else is new? Don't worry, I'm getting numbers. You just...
So that means we are spending $1.24 trillion a year. Right? No, sorry, 1.4.
That sure says
1.4 trillion.
Say it sure over billion. You say 1.4 billion.
1.4 trillion.
You said 1.4 billion. I was hanging up. Like, well, Walter just got what? Walter's talking privileges were just revoked. If you went there,
1.24 trillion a year on just dealing with the idiots down there. Yeah. Just dealing with it. That doesn't include the cost of what happens when these idiots come here, the environmental cost of everybody that lives down there and owns property having to clean up the trash, which now looks like the city of our street here, because we can't look anything. I mean, I'm sorry. When we were in Iraq, the roads weren't as dirty there as it is here. There wasn't as much garbage floating in the air there as there is here. Granted, we burned everything in Iraq.
Yeah, we said you and your environment.
Anywho, I'll move on past that. The whole point of it is it costs probably actually 3 times that a year if you add all the financial costs of just the idiots coming across the border. That's the homeowners, the government, everybody is, I'm sure, is paying over $3.5 trillion a year on just the fucking border. So you bring that into play. You got all these idiots coming across, taking jobs from Americans. They talk about this job's available, this job's available. Yeah, you got 11.6 million or whatever, or yeah, 11.4 million is what I seen the other day. Jobs available. Congratulations. You know why your unemployment so rate? You have that high of a number because you got people who can't work, because you take people like me and you go, hey, you gotta have a vaccine. Guess what? You just took a quarter of the population of workforce away immediately.
I'm on too many drugs.
The government has brought that on. And you got that. I bring that up because that is also tied to the border, because when you got illegal immigrants coming across and they're getting IDs to be able to function in society better during their litigation process. No, that's bullshit. We went to Iraq, and anyone that was E5 and below, you're lucky if you made $40,000 for a time in combat.
At about $12.
That's my whole point.
By the way, guys, I'm still waiting on my separation pay that I never got.
I'll never get it. So I never got my back pay.
Yeah, I went and saw, when I went and did my audit thing right at the end there, our captain that worked in the S shop that took care of all that. Don't worry. he came and walked up to the Marine that was doing my final audit. And I'm like,
Coletta?
no, Coletta worked at Supply.
What'd you say?
The one chief warrant officer that worked in the S1 shop, 4 shop, whatever shop it was that dealt with our pay. He walked right in, said hello to, dealt to the lady, said hi to me. I'm just sitting there glaring at him. He's like, what? He owes me, what, 10 grand? No, it was counting. You'll never see that. Yeah, so that was fun. But yeah, all that number, and I went and I got the numbers because it's just, what I do. And yeah, total enforcement, actions, total, let's see, fiscal year 20 was at 646, whatever, pandemic, I know. It was at 683 2 years before that. We had that 1.1 million in fiscal year 19 because they had that really, really terrible, like that was mostly over half of that was just
total
July.
enforcement?
Half of that was July. Yeah, total enforcement. Half of that 1.1 million was from July and August, if I remember correctly, because they just got a flood of motherfuckers coming, and Joe Biden's already shattered that record. So there's that. But yeah, last year total encounters, this is from them, was 1.956, which is 1,956,519 encounters. And so far this year, by the way, guys, fiscal year doesn't end until September 30th. We're already at 2,002,604. So yeah, put that in your pipe and smoke it. You've already beat it. And if you take the numbers of just Office of Field Operations, those guys out of it, that would keep you at 1.662, and we're at 1.639. Like, no matter what, it's still catastrophic, and that's just the ones we're catching, and the money going into it. And what do we know though?
It's a joke.
What do we know? You big dummy.
Here we go. So you said a total.
I just deleted it because it hurt my head.
Oh, you're good. You're good. If I remember correctly, I think you said total enforcements were 1.1 million.
Yeah, in fiscal year 19.
In 19.
1.194, yada yada yada. I mean, it's in my recently deleted folder. If you'd like, the numbers again.
Well, I'm going over the month. They had, I guess you want to call it total enforcement. That would be 100.
Julian, I still want to go down the monthly breakdown because that would hurt my skull.
Okay. Anyways, my whole point was is the stuff is happening horrifically in numbers month. And anyone that goes this, that, and everything else, I want to say this to include Uvalde, Texas. No community along that border. Oh, sorry. No community along that border can financially sustain anything involved with this kind of policies.
Oh, well.
Anyone that actually thinks that any one of those cities can do it, I have some oceanfront property dead middle of Indiana for you.
Hey. 2.0. Yeah, give me July, August, and so we still got 3 months. Like, we still have the whole, like, we're just about to get Q3s, like Q2s GDP numbers at the end of Q3. That's cute. Anyway,
Q4 before Q3's out.
Yeah, well, we'll be.
I bet you it doesn't even come out tomorrow.
We're going to be done in Q1 of we're going to be into Q2 next year before we hit get Q3 of this year's numbers out. And no one's going to give a damn because no one cares. But yeah, all the money being spent there. Again, housing them, transporting them, all of this instead of just stopping their asses from coming in. It is funny though because you talked about it. Did you see Eric Adams?
Which speech?
Oh, I just meant him throwing a hissy fit because it's not fair to New York City and their resources have to take care of all those legal immigrants that are being bussed up there from Texas. That's great. You support what? You're a sanctuary city. They should have IDs and driver's license. They should become one. Come on, what? I know he's the one running the suckhole and saying it and saying, well, that we're racist for trying to stop them from coming into the country, but then we send them to you and they're taking up your resources, and suddenly it's a problem and it's not fair. Well, how the hell do you think all of those cities down there that have been dealing with it for almost 2 years now feel?
Exactly.
Like, it's funny how one of the biggest cities in the
Right.
country suddenly is having a hissy fit. Why? Because they're treating those blue cities and states just like they've been treating the red states on the border this whole time. I just think that was comical and kind of
Well,
hilarious.
and my
They should be
is
able to
too,
vote, have IDs, get driver's licenses, be on government assistance. Take care of them. Don't you dare ship them up here. Why? Because then we actually have to do it. And it's a
this
big and
literally,
it's a big this until suddenly it's like, hey, here's some busfuls of people. What? Take care of them. You
well,
said
it
it.
bothers me because it's literally this simple.
Checkmate, mother.
You go down south, all right? Or actually, no, better yet, wait till about
Yesterday.
middle to the end of next month.
Right.
And all across Michigan, you're gonna have they're gonna have legal aliens that will be here working all across the whole state.
Yeah.
They all come from Mexico.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have a problem with them because one, they learn English. Two, they probably learn English because if they don't, they won't have the job. Now that I think about that. Anyways, two, when they come here, they do their job, and when they're done, they go back home. But the third and biggest thing when they're here, they're not slobs. They don't like chaos. They just want to work, eat, and go to sleep.
And get their money to send back to their family.
That's it.
They show up,
You
they work,
ask
they go to
any-
bed.
You ask any one of them, or ask anyone that's legally came and lives in Michigan. I'm going to use Michigan for example. Lives in Michigan, minus a couple stupid government things. They're going to tell you what's going on down there and how they're doing it. They don't like it. They don't want it. There's a reason they left down.
Look at we're big bad crazy racist Republicans, but look at the percentage of the Hispanic vote that the left lost and is continuing to lose. That number keeps getting bigger. Why? Because they're like, no.
And since we're talking about numbers,
like, this is not what we did to come here. This is not how we want people here. What? This.
we're gonna
They
go
left. They left governments that are doing exactly what this one's doing
exactly.
now.
If you go off of just the $1.24 trillion the government spending, roughly, you take that. How much was that wall originally? Just to build it, it was only what, $5 billion for the whole wall.
Something.
You don't think Democratic and Republican American Hispanics wouldn't have rather spent the $5 billion, to hell with it, $10 billion on a border wall rather than spend $1.24 trillion a year on illegal immigration?
And that's just on a good side from the numbers that we know about. Yeah. And that's just the numbers that we know about people.
That's not including the private owners, the private businesses that have to cover the cost of everything else. When I mean everything else, I mean
the cities have to spend all that money and resources. Then the people that live there and taxpayers are going to get gouged because that's the only way to make all their money back from having to spend all this extra money on all that. Like, it really, they're just trying to sink everything, really. I mean, obviously. Oh, we'll get to my favorite lady here very, very shortly, because I swear to God, she's
part
special,
of that.
She's a special kind of something.
And Chrome Dome behind you there, he's no better.
He's worthless. I love whenever they leak audio he didn't know they were recording, when he says, this is sustainable. This is a cluster. They need to do something about it. But then you catch him on
first year.
Yeah, then you catch him on camera and he's like, oh, no, we're good. What? Nothing to see here. We're okay. Like, yeah. Well, he doesn't rate Chrome Dome. He's got that stupid like 5 o'clock shadow on the top of his head all the time. Like 5 o'clock shadows for your face, not stubble that's barely there on your balding skull. Like, you don't even have a hairline past like here. Why keep the back?
I just find him and Janet Yellen will say
anything,
whatever the wheelhouse statement is of the day on TV.
Yeah, no, whenever they get leaked,
newspapers. But I swear to you on my life, if you put their hand on a Bible and set them down in front of the Senate, guess what they do? Immediately tell the truth.
Or they immediately say
every single time has told the exact truth when she has to sit down, put her hand on that Bible, and stand in front of a Congress or Senate member.
Hey, why do you think no cameras were allowed inside of Ghislaine Maxwell's thing, or when Hillary went and testified? We were watching all kinds of, but all the stuff, hearings and everything were on all the time. Hillary went in there, went blackout, like all media blackout. No one got to hear why she told the truth on national TV. Holy.
You think the border's a problem? That's nothing.
That's just a distraction. But anyway, drug seizures, not people having seizures because of drugs, by the way. even though I'm sure there's a lot of them, but up 25% in June. I saw that number. Send it your way. Cocaine's up 62%, methamphetamine's up 14%. Heroin's down 49% because they've moved on to other drugs. And fentanyl down 41%, which I just don't believe. What's just the other
the drugs, they're all dying.
2 weeks ago, they caught someone with what $36 million worth of like fentanyl, and then last week they found someone 91,000 pills. Like,
Well,
so the percentages are down that much, but we found this many tons of the stuff that were seized by police. Like, you know what that means? It's all getting through, and their plan is working because they're distracted by all the people, and then all the getaways are just marching right on with their drugs and going on like nothing happened, because that's the whole purpose of it. Remember, that's how it works. Like, that's just what they want you to find. How the fuck are we finding literally 91,000 pills, which was enough to kill tens of millions of people, like back to back weeks?
Million pills they found a few weeks ago that you were just right.
Yeah.
That alone should have ended any immigration. That alone should have shut the immigration period down. Like, I should have been saying, hey, if you're trying to come here, we're arresting you, tracking your information, and sending your ass back. And if you come again, you go to prison. Period. They need to end it now, because what you just said.
Remember, the numbers are down 41%. Well, guess what? From your numbers where they were that you reported, the amount of pills that they caught those guys with just in those 2 weeks shattered the numbers that you guys released. Ergo, it's getting through. There's a difference. They're letting you catch the people and the drugs they want you to. So when there's 10,000 people over here, you don't see the 60,000 people over there.
Here, I can make this real simple. The numbers that you're referencing to right here, yes, like the heroin, that's down. Fentanyl use, it's down 49 and 41%. Well, I'll tell you why they're down. They're down because you're, one, not enforcing like you're supposed to. Two, it's down because the people, like right here, as an example, right here in just Jackson, Michigan. You know why the heroin numbers are down? Because the people are dying because they're all laced with fentanyl. Yeah, the numbers are going to go down when there's no longer a person alive to use it.
And again,
you use it and you're almost guaranteed to die up here.
Yeah, but people are dying off. But again, if you look just month to month, though, again, like just what they found in California in the last 2 weeks beat what they said that beat what you guys said you found at the border. Like, we found more already in the country than you guys found at the border. Ergo, I mean, we're not making the shit here.
No, it's coming. The materials to make fentanyl is China.
It's coming from them to them.
Sure North Korea is probably on it too,
they're not worried about that. They're worried about just blowing everyone off the planet.
Yeah,
fentanyl. Literally. Those are child's games. To them. Don't ruin Elton John for me. At least not that song. But it's you. You're the Rocket Man. Boop. Thank you, The Rock. The movie, not the man. Yeah, like, that's my problem with it, because people will argue with me, and they do. Like, well, it's down. Like, you see the number they said they seized it. Did you see how much they caught in the last 2 weeks? Just in 2 busts. It's bigger than that number. You know what that means? That number is shit. They're distracting everyone with cocaine and methamphetamine, and then sneaking the rest of the shit in other places while everyone's distracted. Yeah. I'm Greg Abbott back when he was, they got through the border, and then he went through the trucks too to make sure. Look, we're finding it in like those Lay's Stacks containers, Pringles container. What? Open them all. You can reseal them. Open them. Make sure they don't got shit in them. What they're trying to sneak it into everything they can, and we caught more in those 2 busts than they did at the border, which means your numbers are dog shit. And anyone knows how the border actually works knows that they're dog shit. When my grandmother's going, yeah, you're right on everything, and she doesn't like what I was complaining. It's like, what? Chuck asked me, did you see this? My mother, no. Like, ski it happened 10 days ago. I don't fucking know. I don't get to sit down and do stuff like that. I got a DVR full of bullshit I got to watch. And you're right. Well, what?
Well, my thing of it is I want to use an example. Okay, when we came back in October 2009, coming to the coming through customs in Kuwait, I think it was, or Al Asad, or wherever the hell we were. No, it wasn't. It was on the way back. It was Kuwait, I think. when we were waiting to come back.
No, we didn't hit Kuwait. We left Al Asad.
Okay, where we fly to after Al Asad?
They checked us when we got to Cherry Point, and the dog sniffed everything. And we stood all there, and shoulder to
No,
shoulder.
it was when I came back in July with or June with
when you went UA.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
All right, missing for movement.
Yeah. Chief Warrant Officer Branham and I, dude, I'm telling you, in Kuwait, we got everything we took back with us. They literally went just like this. They took everything out, laid it all out, went through everything. And then we had to load it back up. If they can do that to U.S. service members coming out of a combat zone, why can't we do that at our border crossings?
That's racist, Walter.
Well, then it was racist to do it to us.
Did you not get the memo? Yes, that was.
Oh, they're so stupid.
That was a Batman reference. People judge me for it. Okay.
All right.
A good reference in anything that Morgan Freeman says, what makes me smile for the most part. Do you want White History Month? Well, actually, I'm Jewish. Fine. Do you want one of them? Okay. Well, Christopher Wallace is now getting owned by Morgan Freeman. Shocker. Doesn't take much to get the best of good old Christopher Wallace anymore. That would be, in case anyone's confused, the guy that CNN signed a big contract to for CNN Plus and then tanked. Not to be confused with the Christopher Wallace that we all should love and appreciate, who was taking way too early. And there's a guy that's never going to leave prison because he's afraid to leave prison because, well, we all know good old Shug. Yep. I like that Christopher Wallace. Not so much the other guy, but I like that Christopher Wallace. That one's okay.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be honest.
That's a good dude, that Chris Wallace.
I don't think he would leave prison and get out of the county before it would be over. He's
not leaving. He's not dumb. He might be many things. They're like, what? You could leave. Like, I'm good.
What do I have to do to stay here?
Like, I am not anywhere near rehabilitated. Come here, let me punch you in the neck. Why? But I'm still a violent offender and I have to stay. Oh no. And that one where I'm not actually joking about, like, he wouldn't make it, but yeah, the numbers are.
He would not leave that count.
Compelling. Serious. That lady's an idiot. She's great at lying though. When you hear it, a lot of it. Come on though. We are not in a recession. We are in a transition in which growth is slowing, which means it's receding. But goddamn, take a recession. It's not a recession. It's a transition in which, growth is slowing, which means it's in a recession because it's going, because you're taking the dial and it keeps going farther that way.
I have to say,
look at all the people that bought into it though on their side. They're like, what? Yeah, what? It's not a recession. Well, we're just growing slower than normal. Yeah, we're going back. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You guys keep believing that. That is the $10 form of recession, a transition in which growth is slowing, or a recession. And even my grandmother agreed. What? Yeah. Look at everything. What price of 5 dozen thing of eggs at Walmart is still over 100% up. Like, all this stuff is up over 100, like fuel, all these things. And the inflation rate's only at 9.1%. Like, everything is up across the board. Something's over 100% and 200%. But you mean to tell me we're only at 9.1?
Well, we had that conversation. I told you, dollar for dollar, dollar over dollar. I have literally this last winter paid triple almost on my electricity bill than I did the winter before. Did I not?
Yeah, and Mom and them got a letter. I think PP&L does theirs still back home. Pennsylvania Power and Lighting, for all you people, you fine folk that are not familiar with the area. And they got a letter in the mail that said they're doubling the rates for the summer. Like, so Mom and them, their electric bill doubled just because, like.
Is that for a period of time or just all across the board?
I don't
But maybe
know.
they do the 2 to 8 p.m. thing.
Oh no, it's across the board the whole time. Like I don't know what the time frame is, but they doubled the rate. Yeah, because we have
They do that here, there'll be a riot. Watch.
be
Dude, consumers couldn't get away with it.
but
Over. They're already raping us to the point where people can't even afford it.
and just in case anyone doesn't understand what a transition in growth is, which growth is slowing, it's kind of like, what did Joe say that one time about how we're transitioning from one thing, and then hopefully when we're done, the price of stuff will, like what you're saying is this is all part of your plan. Like we're going through a transition, and we're talking about green energy and all that. So hopefully when we come out of it, the price of all this stuff, like actually the price is gonna go up. But did you see that their expectations, though, more of the numbers I saw is GDP, they expected to be like 1.9%, but now it's all the way down to 0.8%. Like so, like 1.9 wasn't bad enough. Now it's down to under a percentage point. Like that's expected, which means it could be even worse tomorrow when it actually comes out. If it actually comes out, I'm not holding my breath, but it doesn't take a degree from Harvard to understand that that means everything's in a recess. It's going backwards. It's falling in reverse.
Into the
It doesn't take craziness. I don't know if you have any of the job numbers because I just didn't want to look, honestly. I do. I mean, like we do have the cool numbers. People are going to love these when he starts reading them. They're fascinating when they say there's nothing to see here, but it was good to see that Joe Biden also gave money to GM and all of that after one of the people on his thing got all kinds of money from GM, even though they announced they're moving electric vehicle plants. They're going to build them in Mexico and not here because, heaven forbid we don't give the money and then they leave because,
the last time GM did what they're going down the path of doing right now, they lost their ass. When they started closing plant by plant by plant, month by month. Oh no, it got worse than that, but almost week by week here between 2002 and 2006, that they killed our economy. And people wondered why 2008 and 2009 was so hard in Michigan. It's because there was nothing left. The government literally helped finance the move beforehand and during the recession in 2008.
You're welcome.
To get GM out of this country.
Hey,
our own federal government, which is pushed by people like Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton.
There was a great group of people in the administration. Yeah, let's just say they bailed, and then and after they left, Obama went. They went and bailed them out like again and again. I do give Ford credit though. I'm pretty sure their guy said what we'd rather fold than.
This is what they did the whole time.
Like we'd rather fold than
Mrs. Ford will not cave.
Take your money. But we'd rather go out of business than be owned by y'all. Like toodaloo, Sandins.
Look at Chrysler took it and they still folded and had to get bought out by Fiat. Yeah. I'm just saying these numbers and the way they're going about things is what kills our country. They've already shown this once in the past 3 decades.
It's really terrifying though. It's truly terrifying.
And it bothers me.
I don't know if you can see that picture behind me, but I really wish I picked a different one. Because I don't know if you notice her line of sight. I always feel like somebody's watching me. And right now, that creepy bitch on the screen.
I'm watching.
Right at me. Negative Ghost Rider. That's just.
Have you ever noticed how she's kind of got a lean to when she sits? Not even joking. Like she legit makes me concerned as a stroke victim. Anyways, moving on.
But yeah, all the numbers, the good. We got the report from. This report breaks it down, by category, so it's not like a big number, but you don't have to like be a statistician to add 3 zeros to the difference of a number. Like it doesn't take that much skills. That's the worst thing about them doing it by the 1,000. You literally just take that number, subtract that number, and then add 3 zeros to the total. Guess what? You have your number. It's so easy. Anyone can do it. Hell, you could have little people that barely just know basic math and subtraction would do that. Carry everything over, add 3 zeros, and they're done.
You know what I just noticed?
It doesn't take that much to figure it out.
I was going to tell you the numbers from the farm numbers, but that's not on there no more.
Shocker.
I don't even put the farm numbers on there no more. I wonder why. Way to go, Bill Gates.
I just like that leisure and hospitality numbers are down 1.3 million since February. Yeah, like that aren't back yet since February of 2020. Even though I'm pretty sure people were laying people off, like, and really freaking out like before that. But healthcare overall is below February 2020 by 176,000. I think that's a crock. Employment and transportation and warehousing is up. Woo! I don't know where the warehouses are, but it's not like airplanes or anything's really traveling all that. Cancellations all over the place. So where the hell are they working? What are they doing?
Right.
There isn't anyone there. Manufacturing increased, which is a good thing. And we need more manufacturing, even though we have we're in a big. I don't understand that one either though. Because look how many plants just in Michigan alone that make cars and stuff. Said we're have stopped for forever because of the microchip problem. Which I might add, there was someone who once he did this whole thing, and he might look like him. Said that they were going to use the Defense Act, get people to start making microchips here to help solve this
Didn't Elon Musk
giant
do this?
giant loss that we're suffering because all the conductor all that stuff is made overseas, and supply chain is we're going to start doing it here, and we're almost 2 years in and we're still waiting, and they're getting ready to go to European countries as the government here
I forgot they won't use Elon Musk because he's a moderate.
as our federal government's still sitting on that money and hasn't given it to anyone to actually do anything, because they're really good at words. It's just actually doing anything. Look at Trump. I'm going to do this, and again, he kept saying it. Look how much we didn't hear about ventilators after what, a week. Suddenly, no, as well. You ain't going to have a shortage of shit. It's amazing. And these guys have now been saying this for a year and a half, and we're still literally waiting for them to even give them the money so they could start the projects to start building these chips and everything here. We're still waiting. I looked it up. They haven't spent any of it. They haven't done a thing to help solve.
Well, the only thing they're doing
anything.
is the ships up there at UP. That's the only ship stuff I've seen done in the last year and a half.
They haven't been making microchips or any of the things we need for forever.
But I think those are part of the contract though that was still enacted under Trump.
Oh yeah,
which
duh.
That started under Trump, therefore it was able to finish. But I think they have one more. Last time we were up there was only no, sorry, take it back. The last time we were up there was 2 more left in the harbor up there, the boat dock.
Well, I said chip, not ship, as in micro chips. They can't manufacture. No, which is why they can't manufacture cars.
Oh,
which is why GM has shut down plants for years on end, because it's been 2 years now, something, because they can't get microchips. And they said they were going to make them, and we're still waiting on them to actually allocate funds and do anything, which is why they all said they're going to go over to Europe and all other places, because they know they'll actually get the money and the shit will get built and done. And
that's where I was going with
even though they said they were going to do it for a year and a half now. Here we still said, that was one of the first things they did. Here's the Defense Act, so we could do this. And a year and a half later, they have still done nothing. But don't worry. They spent 1.4 trillion a year on illegal immigrants, and they made daylight savings a permanent thing. They gave us daylight savings time all the time. These people are working on important things for us. And billions of dollars being wasted going after Trump still, because, heaven forbid. You do realize that people like my mother that were Democrats their whole life, even though they voted independent 2 or 3 straight elections because they thought everyone sucked, that went, and I'm voting for Republicans from now on. Why? Because they sat around on their hands and have done nothing for this many years except just attack him. Since he said he was running, they stopped doing anything but going after him. Why do you look at, we had more people switch to our side than switch to their side?
Just saying.
And here we are, years later, still going after the man. Information added job, so it's higher than it was in February 2020. That's because you hired a bunch of IRS employees to spy on everyone in DOJ, and you expanded the
dummies.
You expanded that by the bejesus because apparently we're all domestic terrorists. So they have to look at all of us because heaven forbid anything.
I think I was wrong the last time we talked about Sri Lanka, by the way, and I said we're going down that path. I think I was wrong. If they keep this kind of shit up, I don't see it lasting much more than a year or two.
The only time will.
I mean, the only reason I say that is because
Oh,
when
no,
you
it's-
see these kind of numbers go up and then these other ones go down,
Yeah.
they're
Hey,
going our own, like
Yeah.
they're coming after us.
don't worry, man. It's all part of the plan. Remember? They keep
Yeah.
they keep
Little
just
reset button.
they keep accidentally just saying little bits. Well, I don't think Joe Biden accidentally lets pieces out. I just don't think Joe Biden knows where he is. So he's just
I just wish they'd come out and say it. Hey, we support Agenda 21. Just come out and say it, because that would solve the whole argument thing.
no. But carry on with everything.
Sorry.
I do enjoy that they made a big deal that wages were up what 10 cents. Watch out, or 13 cents. What they wrote half a percentage point. Like it's real. And look, they rose 5.1% year to year. Except the problem is inflation's almost double that, which means everyone still took a giant pay cut. When inflation, when what?
Well, and honestly,
Wage improvement is here. When inflation is here, that means they took a pay cut. When they're not on level, they're fisted. So you could give them an 8% increase. You can give them a 9% increase. Guess what? Inflation's still 9.1. So it's still.
Well, and this is what I was saying last year. You had beginning of the year last year, they gave us what? What was it? 1 point, or no, that was this year. They gave us, what was it? 1.9?
I don't know. I don't even, it just makes me
for
sad.
our cost limit. Well, anyway, what I'm getting at is they gave us this stupid low number. But just for last year alone, the cost of living had rose so much that it was still a slap in the face and saying, hey, you caught it, you got a loss.
I think I saw something that said that we allegedly got like 3 point or 5 point something increase this year. It's like, yeah, cost of living, like regardless, inflation's still like 4 to 6. It's still 4 to 6 points over that. So we did, like, they gave themselves an extra like 50 grand though. The politicians, glad you guys that make 6 figures need, more money to keep your cushy life going, and you gave veterans and everyone else like pennies. Like, that's cute. We know who you care about now because you already have enough money and are living La Vida Loca. We've seen all of your net values because y'all write books and go and do this, that, and the other. You play the stock game.
Did you do mock government in high school? And any of your like your history class or anything like that? You do a mock government?
I mean, not that I was never there. So
okay, so when I was in school, there was a thing called mock government. We did this in junior high.
That's what we have right now.
Well, it was better than this. Well, but something that I learned about this, because the pretense and time set was when the Constitution was written, the beginning of our country, those eras, the 1700s, and that was that. When you do it, every person that worked for the federal government back then, minus the president and vice president, got the same pay. It was set in a table, and that's what you got. There was no ups, there was no downs, there was no money coming from anyone else. It was just what you got paid. Period. I learned that in junior high. I sit back and I look at this and I go, you got guys like Fauci and Pelosi who, yeah, they get their regular federal paycheck,
which they keep increasing,
which is always increasing. But then you add, they get their grants, they get their inside information. You got Pelosi's got her and her husband are doing trading. Well, Martha Stewart went to prison for less money in a trading situation. She gained less money than they did, and she went to prison.
Hey.
As far as I'm concerned, her and Snoop got every case in the world to go and say, hey, our records need to be wiped clean. But that's besides the point.
The employment situation for July is scheduled for release on Friday, August
5th. But anyways, my whole point of it is you can't have the numbers for federal funding going up, numbers for federal paychecks going up. People who pay the federal funding, which is guys like us, you got them taking cuts in their wages basically because shit's going up so fast, their pay doesn't go anywhere. You got a loss of money, but the government's never lost as far as their paychecks. There should be no more pay like it is. They need to go back to the way it was originally, because if they don't, which is their goal, they're shutting our country down. They're just taking and taking and taking. There's no way to ever replenish what's going on.
I have a small little.
It takes the numbers
for
job immigration. It all is garbage when you can't fund.
Hey, I got two things. One, it's amazing how Pete Rose can't go into the Hall of Fame because he was gambling on games he was doing, because he could have, it's pretty much, it could affect it. Like if you gamble, look at Steve Calvin Ridley, I believe it was, and for the Falcons that got suspended for the whole year for gambling on a game for like $20 on DraftKings. Whole year because why? He could throw the game and skew it if anything like that. He can make them do it. So it's illegal, which is pretty much insider trading. But they all dumped their stock like the Pelosi's and them, and bought all kinds of GM EV stocks a week before they passed the thing that Joe signed the thing that said they're going to make it an all electric fleet. Man, it's amazing how that happened and continues to happen, and they're okay. And then two, to break it down easier for those that don't understand what Walter just said, in case he was in too big words, let's say someone that, let's say, works for the city where you live, and they have an after school program which then turns into a summer camp type program, to watch the kids during that whole thing, for the same hour, all day, all that. Parents work, we get it. And let's say they gave all those employees a $2 raise right before the summer program started. It was like right at the beginning of it, but they all openly admitted that the price of the program went up so much just so they could afford to give everyone a $2 raise. Like that's pretty much breaks down inflation.
What they're doing
breaks down inflation right there. They want to give them all raises to include themselves, $2 raise. So it's the parents and everyone else that has to suffer and pay the extra money just so they can take care of themselves. Like that's pretty much sums it up right there. But they all get, hey, look it up. They all signed the bill to get, House resolution to give their asses $25,000 this year. Because they needed more money at their 160,000 a year. Like, but hey, me down here making like 21, I'm worth about 1.9%. You guys get a bigger raise than I make all year.
Are bigger than
our year. Your raise is bigger than my year. And
bigger than mine.
And your cost of you guys' cost of living went up that much. Like how about guess what? Inflation number, it's coming. What 9.1% is full of.
Well, you got to take into consideration when you read those numbers. This is the other part where people need to read the whole thing.
All 40 pages of it. In fact, don't even look at that. Just go to the charts. There's like 10, 15 pages in that 20. Just read in the 40 that it is. Just read the charts. The numbers are as clear as day. No shit. Right there.
This is an example. This is obviously nothing to do with what we're talking about, but this is just for example purposes. You read this coming from the CBP, right? Or sorry, BLS, which is Border and Labor Statistics. The unemployment rate was 3.6%. Okay, that's good. Read the text. For the fourth month in a row, and the number of unemployed persons was essentially unchanged at 5.9 million in June. These measures are a little different from their values in February 2020, where it was 3.5 and 5.7 million, which means it was better.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. And it even references Ski's favorite thing, Table A, in his hand right there. That one, yep.
I just love that they put it in there,
But if you don't read the whole thing, though, like with the inflation stuff, if you read it, it says it's 9.1%, and that's all you read. Okay, it's 9.1%, and that's what you're going to go off of. Well, if you read that whole paragraph, just that one paragraph, it'll tell you it excludes this, it excludes that, it includes this. Well, when you look at it and they don't add total cost of energy in there, you automatically have lost for it right now, probably 6 or 7% if you don't add energy to it.
Hey, like my favorite, again, read it all, but look at the charts first, and then
Trying to think of what
again, you could 40, but it's one of those. Though this one is going to take normal people like a couple days to get through, because just to get through the boring text and then read that and go to the chart, and then you're doing a lot of this, but it's worth it. But my favorite one out of all of it was, among those not in the labor force in June, 610,000 persons were prevented from looking for work due to the pandemic. Well, here's the really awesome one, right? Up from 455,000 in the prior month. So we went up extra 155,000 people that weren't able to look for work because of the pandemic. To be counted as unemployed, though, by definition, individuals must be either actively looking for work or on temporary layoff. Yeah, I figured I'd read the last sentence. But because of the pandemic and people that can't look for work anymore because they've exhausted all the benefits, like there's a lot that goes into those numbers, everybody. But right there, when jumped to 155,000 persons were prevented from looking for work due to the pandemic. Please enlighten me where the fuck those people are that in June 2022, after they, all of them said, like, are now suddenly not able to work because of the pandemic. Like, how?
Well, I
Please
mean,
enlighten me. Like, I've seen restrictions anymore. No, like, please enlighten me how you jumped that many people because not able to work due to the pandemic. I know that Pendleton just went full back mask mandate. I know that.
that's where I'm
But
going.
again, to have a job on base in most of these places, they had a vaccine mandate, even though I've heard a bunch of contractors like have gotten rid of it on Lejeune. So I'm guessing that happened, it's a state by state thing. But the people that were there working then aren't, they were all vaccinated. So they're not going to suddenly not be able to go back to work. Now I'm guessing that's stuff shutting down because of the pandemic and they're just throwing it in there. But otherwise, everyone that's working right now, that's, in a lot of places, like most of those places had mandates and all that stuff. So people were vaccinated. Like you can't go and blame it. Like we should not be having over 100,000 people not able to work because of the pandemic. This many years after the pandemic, you said everyone get vaccinated, get boosted. You'll be okay. We'll go back to normal. Guess what, people? Like I told you, they're not planning on us ever going back to normal.
No, I'm not going to say a name
ever
about the vaccine.
Sammy is
There's a gentleman
boosted, vaccinated, and fully boosted
in June of 2020 that told me face to face, these vaccines that they're going to do, you watch, they're not going to be good. That same gentleman told me 8 months later in February of 2021, he says these vaccines are going to kill people. He says it's going to kill people because of the disease that's going around. It's going to kill people because the vaccines aren't safe. You watch. I'm going to sit here right now and tell you a year and a half later from then, guy was right. I haven't asked him about that particular conversation because I'm scared to know how he knew this, because we're talking about a true backwoods, down home hillbilly.
Well, that's why right there.
Literally, word for word, called it how it went.
You can keep going.
I'm just saying, like, with that being said, this gentleman called it, and I go, if he called that, how did he know to the detail of what it would do? In June of 2020. The government wasn't even releasing the information.
Because those type of people don't overanalyze things, just believe whatever they're told. They're very simple.
You gotta read.
They're simple and to the point and can read and understand and comprehend things. They're not overly on one side or the other. They're just common sense.
Still say,
I said it wasn't going to be good.
March of 2020, right? Okay, so by May of 2020, when we were still having problems, that was when our government, federal government, and federal high up leaders, to include the president, probably should have went, find me the people in charge of the Amish community. We probably wouldn't be where we're at right now. You know why? They never lost money. They didn't make any money in February, March, and April of 2020. But they didn't lose money. They kept rolling in the money as soon as they went right back to work, and have continued working ever since. And every one of them I've ever talked to or had the conversation heard from somebody else asking them, it usually ends in, well, we knew that it was going to have to be a natural immunity type thing. That was just going to have to go through the community, and we were going to have to be done with it. Once it took its course through our communities, month and a half, 2 months later, we were golden. Stuff didn't come back. Everything was fine. And they haven't had problems since. There's an indicator there that we should probably be looking at.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at the numbers, there's a lot of numbers that, went down in a good fashion, but job leavers is still, up. I mean, that's just people saying deuces buy, which isn't good. I mean, you look at the demographic numbers, and there's some, interesting things in there, but nothing really actually moved. I mean, no offense to half a percentage point, but nothing really actually did anything, no matter how good you are saying you're doing what, I mean, there it is broken down by demographic for like the unemployment thing should move more than 0.6 or not at all. Like if you're doing something right, those numbers would change. No offense to 0.6, but which is great. I mean, when you say it's only at 3.6, but it's not when you look at, again, all the numbers there and all the different things they even put it in their own text. That doesn't mean this, that, or the other thing. Which doesn't help.
I just find it funny where you should see that table. You're looking at table A. When you're looking at that second batch of numbers that are all together, those should all be negatives. Then you go down here to the duration, or no, under duration of employment, it says employed persons at part-time work. Then it says person is not in the workforce. That one that's all negative should be positives. There should be no negatives in that spot. That's a problem.
Hey, but
that is an indication of economic failure right there.
I mean, duration of unemployment, like again, there's some good stuff in there, but I mean, and people less than 5 weeks, I mean, that number, good thing that went down a little, but
look at the
correction, never mind. 5 weeks or less, that number went up. 5 to 14 weeks went down. 15 to 26 weeks went up, and 27 weeks and over pretty much stayed the same. I mean, no offense to 20,000 people, but that's how many millions of people are unemployed that 20,000 doesn't.
Do you want to know
actually make
won't go down any more than that? Because like I said, people like us that aren't vaccinated cannot work at most places. Sorry, I live in a Democrat state. It sucks. They don't want you anywhere if you're not vaccinated. But yet, when things are going downhill, like out here, all the crackheads and everything, they're all for having Chuck involved.
Hey, it's your attitude, I tell you.
When shit hits the fan, they need us. Anyways, carry on.
Oh no, I just like the -9 for government. There's some numbers. It's
that you should definitely question.
I mean, there's some good stuff, but again, you break it all down. My big problem, all of it, and again, there are some good numbers. We're not going to, say it's all completely, horrific, but there's people that they don't count that, they should give you the numbers of how many people are in the system, that no longer rate benefits, which is why, to show the difference in all the categories for that, because they know how many people are kicking out of the system every month. I mean, they know exactly what they're paying them. They know exactly when that stuff stops and how many people they should add that to reflect this is this part of this number and why it went down or anything got better or went up. Regardless of how it moved, this is the people that got thrown out of the system, which then technically would make a difference on percentages because they're no longer able to get money from the system. But they never, I've always thought that regardless of, what party was running everything, when they're showing these numbers, they should show the amount of people that got thrown out. Because guess what? That does make a difference in the numbers when you're throwing out, tens of thousands every week because they've run out of benefits, probably even hundreds of thousands at that rate. But like that does make a difference. If we lost this many people, because they couldn't get any more benefits, because they exhausted them all. There's a difference. And I just don't like that they never reflect.
That's where I was going with
this
paragraph right here.
Oh yeah,
is usually like the overview of the whole entire document when it comes to from the government like this. In this paragraph, there's only 4 numbers I should see in that paragraph. There should be jobs gained, jobs lost, unemployment rate, population participation rate. Who's not working that should be working? Those are the 4 numbers they need to guarantee every month they release. You know what you never see? That participation rate.
Yeah. And again, like I want to see the number for how many people got flung out of the system.
Well, that would fall into
say,
that.
Yeah. Say, I just want, no, don't even throw it in
Or you're
there.
saying that number
Put that
individually.
one, yeah, put that number, no, hey, put it back in there individually.
Gotcha.
Because you can show all the numbers you want, but I want to see exactly how many were flung out of there, which is why they, I want to know. I think that should be automatically one of the categories. They could put enough categories for all that stupid stuff in there. They could fit another line. Say, this is how many we lost. What, it's 2 extra lines? They love throwing extra bullshit and everything. We've read enough of their things to know they could throw. They love to throw random. Just like, why is that even in there? Like they could tell us, but they won't.
Yeah.
And again, why do you think they keep delaying? Yeah. Why do you think? Again, October 1st it started, which means January, February, March, April, May, June. What quarter? Q3 is.
Well, it ended. So March 31st.
April.
This is now almost, we're 4 days shy of 4 months.
I'm saying
later. And we still don't have the numbers.
That's my problem.
It should be 4 days, not 4 months.
Yeah, like it doesn't take that long, which again is my problem with all of it, because that's just, no matter what anyone says, what I see the price of things, and everyone's saying, and I love, by the way, also that they wouldn't take nothing that had to do with gas prices was their fault. But the second it started going down, you saw how quick they jumped on and said it was all us. Like which means you could have done something. If that's all you, and you're the reason the gas prices went down, you could have done it sooner.
Yep.
But they got rid of the federal gas tax, which means they're making less money for that, which means we're all going to be fisted because
our roads are finally.
Yeah.
4 decades later, they're getting fixed in Michigan.
Yeah. What do you think?
These ones are done. We probably won't see another road repair again for another 5 decades.
Yeah.
If we see
that's federal, interstate, like federal, like government roads, not local, like all those. But that all comes from like funding from the Fed for the gas tax and all of that, which my state has their gas taxes too. But they're not making that money. They're going to make it up somehow, and things are going to continue to get more garbage. Like you don't notice every time they say they're making something better, you do realize the numbers keep going up, which means they're not doing anything.
Already said it. No one ever felt great about the government coming to him saying, "Hi, I'm the federal government and I'm here to help."
No one ever did. He was onto something, but
no one ever wanted to hear that.
But I do love how they said we can't. I love how quickly that when everyone's jumped. Look what they're doing. They said they couldn't do it. They said that gas prices had nothing to do with them, but here you guys all are giving them credit because the prices are going down. Like it's all them, even though you were just arguing last week that they don't control. It's nothing that they're doing, but it lowers and hey, like you can't actually have it both ways. Like physically in that argument, you actually can't have it both ways in that argument.
No, you can't. There's no way around that. Before I forget to bring this up though, I just want to call out our federal government and what they're doing to Zelensky. And I also want to call out the bullshit between Russia and Zelensky. Russia and fucking Ukraine agreed to do that whole grain deal. Then the next day, Russia decided to blow up the port. The only port that Ukraine controls right now, it's functioning. And they decided to blow the shit out of it. Russia, I got news for you. If you do end up fighting us person to person, there's enough Marines that I feel confident that hate you enough that are probably going to make what you guys did in Ukraine look good. Secondly, our country, sorry, I need to turn this a little bit differently. First and foremost, President Zelensky, I'm disgusted in you and how you're going about allowing our country's messed up, hypocritical, bullshit ways of doing things in our government change and affect how he's going about letting it get to his head. As I can tell you right now, the difference between a good leader and a bad leader, the good leader ain't going to let the idiots from the U.S. and their federal government and the bullshit ways they do things to their people interfere with how they function. Because if he starts getting this democratic Hollywood glow fucking bullshit going, I honestly hope the country turns against him. Because it's wrong for me to look at the news any given morning and see stuff about him and his wife and interviews, and then her doing Vogue photo shoots, which I get her because she's not there most of the time. I understand that. So she's in a safe ability to do that. But him, they did that interview, which granted, there's a lot of security and shit there. I get that. It was still heavily watched, but the fuck good did it do? What was the purpose of that interview with him and his wife?
The purpose of any of them.
Everybody knows shit is ugly and hitting the fan hourly over there. Anyone that says it's not, well, they should probably be sitting in an insane asylum. That's besides the point. Don't let the Hollywood bullshit from Joe Biden and his corrupt buddies get to you. I'm leaving that there because Americans are dying in Ukraine already. So just watch your fucking P's and Q's, buddy. Anyways, I also want to bring up the fact that China, worried about job numbers, worried about the border, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. The only thing that we ever talk about when it comes to China is the border because of the fentanyl. Nobody brings up the other stuff. You got mass filings of genetic details now through 23andMe and a couple other companies. You've got the phone company wanting to buy thousands of acres in North Dakota, which I hope they blow that whole deal to pieces. Now, nobody's talking about the fact that China has figured out how to democratically change their tax structure. They got that information. They proved it just a couple weeks ago because they're changing their ways. If they figure out how to run their communist country on a democratic financial plan, it's over for the U.S. Over. No one thinks about these things. No one's thinking about what's going out and what's coming in. You know, the federal government doesn't use the Chinese drones no more. I wonder why that is. But yet you still let them sell Chinese drones in every other market possible in America, just not the federal military. What the hell? Explain that, because nobody can. Well, you go from there and you go, all the intellectual bullshit they're doing here, none of that adds up to what they're doing in their own country. You got a whole entire population of people, a whole culture, Uyghur Muslims. Nobody talks about them anymore. We talked about them for 3 seconds and everybody quit. Bullshit. Children. You're going to talk about something and talk about a legit problem? That's one. You want to talk about a legit problem here? Let's talk about our children that don't fucking eat. Children that don't get adopted. Children whose parents want to throw them in garbage cans. There's goddamn groups out there, Catholic groups. And I'm going to point them out particularly because a lot of them do good when it comes to moms. They're either going to have an abortion or moms don't know what to do with their kid because they're pregnant and they don't know what to do with it when it's born. There's groups out there that know how to go about it. Now, I will say, this is me speaking openly. This has nothing to do with the Marine Corps. This has nothing to do with any government entity or the Catholic Church. I personally think the Catholic Church should never receive 1 penny from the federal government of the United States. Period. Because it's blood money. I'm leaving it there. Our government pushes abortion like it's never been pushed before, and it's wrong. But yet, China is not bad. All this going on, nobody puts in the limelight, hey, China's looking to shut us down. They want to shut our country down every day. It's never going to stop. They're just like Iran. Death to America. We're Satan to them. But yet we don't stop any of this. The shit's coming across the southern border from China daily, hourly, minutely, probably. I don't know what to say anymore. Taiwan. I just want to say ahead of time to all the people in Taiwan, if this ever reaches you, I'm sorry, our government sucks. I'm sorry, our government's going to let you die. You will get taken by China because our government is a joke. And also, there's a dude from Texas. He's a senator or a congressman. I can't remember which one. He's a Republican. He said, because he just went to Ukraine, and I agree with him 100%. And I don't usually say it when it comes to this particular topic, but I agree 100% with what he said about Ukraine. Balls up, decide what you will or will not give it to him, and give it to him all at once. Be done with this. Quit pussyfoot. If you're going to give him 127 HIMARS, minus what we've given him already, and the rest should be there tomorrow. Don't say it can't be done. It can. Grow the fuck up. All this is bullshit. That's 300 million here, 600 million here, 875 million here, 1.2 billion here, 600 million here. This is a joke. If you're going to give them $38 billion worth of equipment and ammunitions, round the fucking ships up, load them up, and send them out. I don't want to see nobody again. Period. Done. Over with. Boom. Problem solved. Now let's move on to the next topic. Solve the border. The problem is there's no accountability and they're all pussyfooters. He's right. If you're going to give them 100, I take it back. It wasn't 127. I think it was 115 HIMARS is what they were giving them. You're going to give them 115 HIMARS. I think we've given them 30 something right now. Ship the remaining 80 or 70 some that's left. Ship them all once. Gone. Done. Get it over with. And decide, are you going to give them fighter jets or not? Because every time you say you're not, boom, tax ramp up. They can't defend themselves if they can't go on an attack offense. You know why they can't go on an attack offense? Because it takes one offense attack from them, and they're going to lose 2/3 of their fleet. And then what do? Then they can't even defend what they got. To hell with an offensive attack. It's bullshit. If we're going to help them, do it all right and at once and get it done. Because I guarantee if you put everything at once that's left to give them out of this original package, I promise within 1 month, it would be over. And you want to know why? Because they could literally do one offense attack, which they want to do already. If they could do one offense attack, they'd probably push them out of all of Eastern Europe, of Eastern Ukraine. And if they could do a second one, they'd probably push them out of Crimea. I'm being dead honest with you. Because their people do want to fight, and that's clear. But politicians are in the way, here and there. Zelensky should do this every morning. What equipment did we get in? We got this. Okay, well, where's it? Okay, we didn't get this. And get on his phone and go, President Biden, yep, you said you were giving me this. I didn't get it. I expect it tomorrow. Please and thank you. And then we got to set up our contracts for paying you guys back. Boom. Hey, Macron, you forgot to send me this. Boom. Hey, what's the numbnuts from Turkey's name? Erdogan. All them guys. It's boom, 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 boom. Why are we doing this? This is not how the military works. This is not how combat works. Combat doesn't go, okay, hey, I'm going to shoot you. 4 days later, the rocket lands. No, that's not how that works. Hey, you're not getting told you're getting shot. Next thing you know, you just got a fucking round laying on the ground. It's either going to blow you up or it's not. Figure it out. That's it. There's no delay. There's no pre-planning. There's no propagating this or doing this. Negotiation. It's just shut up and do it. It bothers me. And nobody talks about that way. And it's exact what's happening in Ukraine is getting ready to happen in Taiwan. I'm sorry to say it, but it's going to happen. And I blame the U.S. government and I blame Turkey. Putin's scared of Erdogan in Turkey. Why doesn't he step up and say something? He's a big chicken shit. Anyway, sorry. I'll move on now. I'll get off my soapbox. It's just you don't get talked about no more. I wanted to bring these things up because it has to be talked about. We talk about this and that, but we don't talk about the real bullshit that matters. Sorry. Not necessarily you and I don't talk about this. In general, it doesn't get talked about.
It's because we got January 6th to talk about still. They have to make sure they fill all their time with January 6th and how we're all racist and yada, 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 yada. They have no way that that's all they just have to do.
All
just
I got
push
to say
their
is
machine.
George Bush and Dick Cheney feel great about themselves because Liz Cheney's making us look like a fucking parade of monkeys. Sorry. Here I am.
No, that was it. You saw my notes. I just sat back.
Yep.
Believe it or not.
I'm done.
Well, we were done.
Oh, there we go.
Hello. Yeah, I'm sure you printed it off. I mean, that was it.
What was the how's that commercial go? The sleep app. What is that? One with Jennifer Aniston on it.
Oh,
You have reached the end of the application.
I don't pay attention to that stuff.
I just happened to see it one day, hearing something live on TV, and I was like, "Hey, oh, it was fireworks."
Too busy now.
On TV. I'm like, "Hey," the app just told her, "Get out of here. I can't help you no more. I've done everything I can."
I'm too busy making thumbnails. Like it could damn near punch me in the face. I wouldn't notice, but it's a good ending point. With Walter all angry. I don't have to get on my soapbox for anything. I don't have the energy to get on my soapbox about anything, but
Go back out here and break shit with the skid steer.
I'm going to keep making thumbnails and editing everything for search engine optimization.
Gotta be
That's-
soft.
Not as exciting as my face says it is.
All
Yeah.
righty. Well, America, always be good humans.
Yeah.
Love your family.
Don't
I
be
appreciate
dicks.
the military.
It's not that hard. Like, actually, just be decent human beings and think about someone besides yourself.
And be grateful for what you have because you can have a lot less.
Appreciate what you have and your loved ones and who's they're actually taking care of you. And don't just treat them like a doormat. Because
Making voice good.
even doormats have their limits.
Yep.
And when you're having a fight with one of them, you're having a bad day. So be good to each other. And again, we're on good pods. Thank you. Videos are on YouTube, Rumble, Clout Hub. I share everything also on MeWe, Parlor, and and Getter. Get them just because, but Truth gets it just
Good
because.
pod.
Reddit, I'm on Locals, like the show's all over the place, and you hit the subscribe button in the top right corner. At least it better be the top right corner on YouTube. Subscribe to it. I'm seeing the watches, but hit subscribe. It helps out. Like it, comment it, rate it across everything. Follow on Facebook, and until we
Unless
meet again.
you're online, YouTube's well down there for people.
It's on the top right corner. I don't know about him, but I mean
on the like on an actual website on the bottom right of the video.
Oh, well, if you wait till the end of the video, it actually pops up in the top right corner on YouTube. So you don't actually have to hit anything. It comes up free if you make it to the end. So, but be good to each other, be decent human beings. It really actually doesn't take that much. And until we meet again, peace.
Peace.